So most sequels, bar none, are horrible. I mean, especially when you get into comedies. And we recently saw Hotel Transylvania 4, which might be
both did.
one of the worst ones that I've ever seen. But Tyler and I are thinking, since we're dads now, let's not just do sequels. Let's do animated sequels, but the good ones. Sometimes you find a gem that is better than the original or just as good as the original. And we're going to now have our top 3 that are the best animated sequels of all time.
Yeah, and this was harder than I thought it would be. It turns out I was more critical of animated sequels than I ever thought I would be. So that was a tough part for me, Jones. And I don't even know if the ones I landed on, for me, were still even that great.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately.
Oh, mine are classics in my mind, and the rewatchability has a factor in my list too.
Well, yeah, I think that's always important, and it's just so. But just like you started the whole segment off with, I think it was hard to get past the originals,
right?
That got you loving these particular ones, from the beginning. So my number 3 on this list is Despicable Me 3.
So 3, not 2.
Yeah, and this when I went back and did a lot of research, if there were 3 on a lot of animated series, they were better than 2.
Right.
It's kind of like the second season of a show is usually garbage.
You get familiar with the characters.
You bounce back in season 3 with better plot lines. So for this one, the what was his name? Balthazar as the 80, and they are appealing to people like Jones and I here in the writing with an 80s childhood star that was jaded, that was coming to take over the world. And but I love the references and the hits. It was brilliant thinking and brilliant writing, and it grossed like $1 billion. So it did very well.
And by then they had already got over the bust, which was Minions, the sidebar movie, and so that's good. They found a good niche there.
Yeah. So for me, that was an easy one. Going for number 3.
Okay, my number 3 is also a 3, and that's Toy Story 3. And this might be the one we're trying to repeat because it's on everybody's list of best animated sequels. Just because Toy Story 3 was the perfect end, we thought, to the whole franchise. It had the heartstring pull, it had the comedy and everything like that. It was 11 years after the original, and we thought it was done. But then they came up with 4 and then busted the whole thing. But 3 is proclaimed as the best one in the whole franchise, and I can't disagree with that.
And I really like that decision. And right, 4 was interesting to bring it back and throw it down one more time. But good choice.
My number 2 is one that's probably not on his list, and that's Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs. Now, I'm a sucker for Scrat and Sid personally, so that was high up on my list because Scrat had a high place in that movie. But also, it reached that, again, the perfect mix of writing. You were familiar with the characters, had more comedy than heartstrings pull, but still had its moments that was good. And plus, you put dinosaurs in any movie, it's going to make it better. So for me, Dawn of the Dinosaurs is the best Ice Age movie there is, and that whole series is pretty funny. Now they overdone it with the amount of TV series and everything else they have it spin off, but
they're coming out with a new Ice Age.
Yeah,
I don't know if
it keeps on going.
You've seen the previews for it, so we got that far in, and I talked to my wife. She's never seen any of the Ice Ages.
Oh, man.
So I wonder if there's a lot of people that are out there that haven't seen any.
And that's true.
I feel that's sad.
So the reason why it's higher up on my list than Toy Story is because the popularity Toy Story had. I think, it reached a threshold of like everybody has seen this movie. Where Ice Age on the Dinosaurs, I don't think a lot of people have seen it. Even though at its peak, it was highest grossing animated film of all time, short of Shrek 2.
What number
at its
was
peak.
It?
What's that?
In the series?
3.
That was the third one.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been pretty consistent
Correct.
so far.
On my 3s.
So my number 2, maybe, I don't know. Let's see where Jones goes on this one. My number 2 is Monsters U. Got a lot of criticism, all right? Just because Monsters, Inc. was so good and so unique. But what I've realized in the rewatchability of Monsters U is the character development of the other frat boys in the movie actually are pretty good. And the way that they set up the movie with the backstory. And once again, this is a hard think on this particular one because it was a prequel.
Right,
in the sense
of
original. They're going back before they became who they really were in the first one. So I thought with that in mind, they did a really nice job. And so Monsters U for me is an easy pick. And I love the characters.
So did you like Monsters U better than Monsters Inc.?
No? Okay. Not a chance. As I said, that part was really hard for me. And I won't spend a lot of time on my number 1 because I think Toy Story 3 is the best. And I think everyone does. You're right. It just the ending suspense in the movie Lotso was great. The Barbie mansion, Ken, everything that we dealt with in that movie was just perfect. As far as a series that you thought, they could really do something this good still, and they did. And I'm gonna say Toy Story 4. I don't know if that's your top of your list.
No,
okay,
it's
good.
not.
I loved it. I thought Toy Story that almost made my list. I thought it was good. I thought it was solid throughout. But then they really had a good heartstring pull at the end, like you said, kind of wrapped things up. I didn't think it was good enough to put in the top 3, but I enjoyed the movie.
I just wish they would have stopped at 3 because it was so good at finalizing it. But then, of course, the cash money grab comes on every movie franchise. Can we make another one? And then they went ahead and made another one.
Hey, Tom Hanks wants to do something. You let him do it, Jones.
All right, my number 1 is the funniest animated film of all time, and it came as a sequel, but it's Lego, the Batman movie. So if you have not seen this, and if you're either a Batman fan, if you're a dad, if you like funny movies, you need to see this Lego Batman movie. Just because the Lego movie was awesome in itself, but then the spin-off sequel was Batman, and even nerds who are like really nitty gritty inside of Batman will like this movie because there's callbacks to the comics, there's callbacks to the movies. If you haven't, Google that and say Lego Batman trivia on Google and see what facts are in that movie because it's just insane the amount of pulls that it has.
I should have known you were going to go this direction.
I'm a fan of Lego movies. I can't help it.
You love the Lego movies. You love the sarcasm that involves. This was a good movie. I think you make a good choice here. So I support your decision. I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the Lego series. A lot of the movies that they had. So yeah, Batman, Lego, good choice.
Yeah, force your kids to watch that movie and you'll enjoy it too. That's for sure.